All right, let's jump right in. We tend to think of our circulatory system as a pretty straightforward set of highways. But the truth is, some intersections in our body are unbelievably complex. And today, we're diving into one of the most critical and complicated crossroads of them all, the blood supply to the liver. So, take a look. This is our map for today's journey. And at first glance, yeah, it looks like a crazy, tangled mess of vessels. But this intricate system is designed with incredible precision. Its complexity, though, hides some really serious vulnerabilities. We're going to break this whole thing down piece by piece. Because that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? When a system this finely tuned gets a major blockage, the fallout can be, well, dramatic and incredibly dangerous. This is the central problem we're going to unpack today. Okay, so to understand the traffic jam, we first have to understand the normal flow of traffic. And what makes the liver so unique, so special, is that it doesn't just have one blood supply. Nope, it has two completely different inputs, and each one has a totally different job. This slide really breaks it down for us. On one side, you've got the hepatic artery. Think of this as the high-octane fuel line, pumping in fresh, oxygen-rich blood straight from the heart just to keep the liver's own cells alive and working. But then you've got the portal vein. This is totally different. This is the processing line. It's carrying all the raw materials, everything you just ate coming from your gut to be processed, detoxified, and sorted by the liver. Two inputs, two jobs. Let's go back to our map. You see this bright red vessel right here? That's the hepatic artery. It's branching off a major highway from the aorta called the celiac trunk. It might look kind of small, but it's delivering that absolutely vital oxygen the liver needs to function. It's the liver's personal lifeline. And now, look at this beast. This massive blue vessel is the portal vein. It's not bringing blood from the heart. Instead, it's collecting all the blood from the intestines, the spleen. All of it gets funneled into the liver through this one giant processing line. And this is where our story really gets interesting. So, we have this beautifully designed dual input system. But what happens when the liver itself, the processing plant, gets damaged? When it gets scarred and blocked? Well, that's when the traffic has absolutely nowhere to go. And this massive circulatory traffic jam, it has a clinical name: portal hypertension. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Hypertension, that's high blood pressure, but it's happening specifically inside that portal vein system. The pressure starts to build, and it gets dangerously high. So here's the bottom line. All that blood coming from your digestive system is trying to ram its way through a blocked liver. It's a total bottleneck. The pressure backs up through the entire system, like a dam about to burst. The body cannot handle this for long. It desperately needs a release valve. And this is where our own biology gets both incredibly clever and incredibly risky. Because the body has a backup plan. Hidden deep in our anatomy, there are these tiny, normally unused connections, emergency bypasses that can be forced open to relieve all that pressure. Just think about it like this. The main highway is shut down, so all the traffic starts spilling onto these small, forgotten country roads. The backed-up portal blood is desperately searching for any detour it can find to get back to the body's main circulation, the system that goes to the heart, completely bypassing the blocked liver. The technical term for these detours is portosystemic anastomoses. But here's the dangerous twist in the story. Those little side roads, they were never, ever designed to handle this kind of traffic. They're small, they're fragile, and forcing all this high-pressure blood through them creates a whole new set of life-threatening problems. Let's trace the first detour on our map. The pressure backs up into a vessel called the left gastric vein. From there, the blood forces its way upwards, finding a sneaky connection to the veins around the lower part of the esophagus. It's a direct shunt, a shortcut that totally bypasses the liver. And the result is terrifying. Those small esophageal veins, they just swell up under this incredible pressure, becoming what we call esophageal varices. Think of them like varicose veins, but in the absolute worst possible place. They're like ticking time bombs. If one of them ruptures, the bleeding is sudden, massive, and can be fatal in minutes. Okay, on to detour number 2. This one is pretty wild. We all have these leftover veins around our belly button from when we were in the womb, the paraumbilical veins. Normally, they're closed off. But with all this pressure from portal hypertension, they can be forced to reopen, creating a new escape route for blood to get to the veins on the abdominal wall. And the result is wow. It's one of the most striking signs in all of medicine, caput medusae. These swollen veins radiate out from the navel, and they look just like a nest of snakes. That's why they were named after the head of the Gorgon Medusa from Greek mythology. It's a dramatic, visible sign of a very dangerous internal problem. Our third bypass takes us in the opposite direction, downwards. The pressure can back up all the way down the superior rectal vein, and from there, it finds connections to the middle and inferior rectal veins, which, you guessed it, drain directly back into the main circulation, once again, bypassing the liver. The consequence here is kind of similar to what we saw in the esophagus. These high-pressure swollen veins are basically internal hemorrhoids, but they're being caused by this massive circulatory backup. And just like the others, they are very fragile and prone to bleeding. And finally, our fourth detour is a little more hidden, a little more behind the scenes. Blood can actually escape through the veins of the colon, the colic veins, and leak into the space behind the abdominal cavity, an area called the retroperitoneum. Now, this one is particularly sneaky. Why? Because it's not bleeding into your stomach or your intestines, so it's not obvious. A person can lose a massive amount of blood into this hidden space before anyone even realizes what's happening. It's a silent but absolutely deadly risk. So let's just take a step back. What we've really seen is this fascinating and frankly dangerous story about the connection between two circulatory systems that are normally kept separate: the portal system that feeds the liver and the main systemic circulation that feeds the rest of the body. This table just pulls it all together perfectly. It's like the cheat sheet for this entire circulatory story. For each of the four main detour locations, you can see the specific veins that are involved and the life-threatening risk that comes with it. The esophagus leads to varices, the navel, caput medusae, the rectum, bleeding, and that behind-the-scenes retroperitoneum, a hidden hemorrhage. So now, looking back at our full map, it's not just a tangled mess of lines anymore, is it? You can see the whole story. You see the two inputs, you can pinpoint the site of the potential traffic jam right at the liver, and now you can trace the four dangerous escape routes the body is forced to take. It's just an incredible testament to the body's desperate drive to survive. But boy, does it reveal how delicate that system really is. It really leaves you with a powerful question to think about. These emergency bypasses are, in the short term, life-saving, but they end up creating their own catastrophic problems. It really makes you wonder, what other hidden vulnerabilities, what other dangerous trade-offs are built right